Hello there folks, back again for another video. In this one I wanted to talk about something that I had been working on for a couple of weeks, a couple of months ago now I suppose, and this was spurred on by the fact that I am quite a fan of the universe of Conan the Barbarian, and there are a lot of different rules out there for you to check out that will allow you to play games set within that setting, and of course you could easily put together collections and all that kind of things based on various games like Might of Melee, Might and Magic and all that kind of thing as well. But in my case I wanted to dive into a sort of idea of creating my own set of very, very simple rules that allow me to dive in and play fun, bloody, brutal, barbarian-style battles on the tabletop, and that is where By My Sword came from, as you can see here. So this was a set of rules that I just sort of put together recently that I thought are very, very quick and easy for you to dive into fantasy swashbuckling on the tabletop without too much hassle indeed. So let's dive in and I'll sort of talk you through a little bit of sort of how you play the game and what it's all about. So you can find all of it over on my Because of Dragons blogspot. Just go over there and download the images. There are printer-friendly versions, in inverted commas, and then non-printer-friendly versions if you want to go down that route instead. So we'll dive in and sort of have a look through this. So the sort of focus behind this was that I wanted to create a set of rules that were very, very easy for you to pick up and play, and would be allowing you to put together fun scenarios that you could document with a little bit of creativity and some fun photographs and things like that for battle reports. So you essentially have heroes and villains when you're playing the game. A hero and an antagonist are very, very similar, as you can see there. They have a D10, which is their dice that they use for all of their actions, and then they have a set of 5 life points. That's essentially the health that a character has. Companions use a D8 for all of their actions, and lackeys use a D6 for their actions. Companions have 3 life points, bodyguards have 3 life points, and lackeys have 1. When you're building your band of companions or heroes, you have 10 points to spend to essentially build your force. Then you could do this solo, or you could do it with a friend if you wanted to. So for example, if you wanted to play with 2 mighty heroes and see if you could stick it out against the villain, then you could just spend 5 points each to have 2 heroes, 1 per character, 1 per player I suppose. And you could have a fun just kicking ass and taking names. You also then you could then mix it up, and you could have a hero with a companion and 2 lackeys, or you could have a hero and 5 lackeys. So you could have one of your characters leading a whole bunch of sort of warriors that they have brought together to do some kick-ass games on the tabletop. On the other side of things, you have the antagonist, their bodyguard and their minions. You must always take an antagonist, so that builds that up there. They are always then backed up by 2 bodyguards, as you can see, and then you have then D6 minions per hero in the band of companions. So as you can see in the example there, a strange temple in the forest is commanded by a vile sorcerer who becomes your antagonist. He is backed up by 2 of his mind-controlled bodyguards who will do their bidding. They are facing a band of companions featuring 1 hero, so the player rolls a d6 and scores a 4, meaning that the sorcerer summoned 4 skeletal minions from their grave. So a really nice, quick and easy way for you to build up a fun set of miniatures for you to use on the tabletop. Because this game is designed to be quick and easy, it is also very simple, so all miniatures that you have are what you see is what you get, or WYSIWYG. So if they are armed with a bow and a dagger, then they are armed with a bow and a dagger, and they can make ranged and melee attacks. If they don't have a ranged weapon on their person, then you assume that they don't have the ability to do a ranged attack. So the basics mechanics of the game, I'll just talk through these as well. Everybody moves 6 inches, nice and simple. Melee attack is done when base to base. When a miniature attacks another miniature, both the attacker and the defender roll their relevant die and compare the results. Oh, there we go. Actually, that's far too big. Whoever scores highest wins the clash and causes 1 damage to the opponent. The winner of the clash causes damage and pushes the opponent back 1 inch. In the case of a draw, the attacker will win. Fortune favours the bold. So this means that when you are rolling, the hero will be rolling a d10, a minion will be rolling a d6. Highest wins the fight. Nice and simple. Range attack, 12 inches, could be a bow, throwing spear, a spell cast from a staff, etc. However you want to flavour it. When a miniature attacks another miniature, the attacker or defender roll the relevant dice as normal and compare the results. The difference with ranged combat is that if the defender wins, they do not do damage to their opponent, as you might expect. There's also a daring risk. A daring risk is anything that your miniature does that could fail, jumping over a ledge. In this case, you roll the relevant dice. If you score low, the lower half of your die roll, you fail. If you score high, you succeed. So, for example, the example there was that I had jumping over a gap. So if someone rolls a 3, they would fail and they would fall, and you just take a point of damage. So you come up with something that would be suitable to fit that, which is a bonus thing that you can see there. Second page goes into a little bit more detail. So you've got activations and actions. So action goes back and forth between the band of companions and the antagonist forces, starting with the band of companions. Place a token or something similar next to the miniature once it has done 2 actions. Once all miniatures have activated, remove their tokens and start again. Unless, of course, the scenario has finished, whatever you put together. And then you have a series of special mechanics that sort of add a little bit more extra detail into them. So if you are playing the game and you want to add a little bit more flavour in, then you've got I'm Not Done With You. So heroes are mighty warriors of legend who always manage to get through situations by the skin of their teeth. Each hero starts with 1 reroll, which can be used on any test. Furthermore, whenever a hero scores a 10 on their D10, they earn themselves another heroic reroll to use later on in the game. I'll be back. When the antagonist has lost their final life point, roll their die. If they score high, then that means rolling higher on your dice. Then they have revived in the next turn on half health to deliver vengeance against the heroes. If they roll low, then they have perished. Clearly the hero managed to strike them in their weak spot. And then you also have Face Me Dog. If within 3 inches of the antagonist, a bodyguard will seek to intervene when a miniature moves to engage their leader. If they can, they will do so before the antagonist engage. So it just means that they can step in the way and stop the sorcerer or something from being damaged. And then, of course, you have some sort of basic AI that has been designed by me, but of course just make it up as you see fit for how the different characters work. So the antagonist, if an enemy is within 6 inches, they will move and attack them, unless it is a hero miniature, in which case it will move away. If they have a ranged attack, a sorcerer, or a tribesman with a throwing spear, they will attack from range rather than move forward. Otherwise they will remain in place and defend their ritual site, their place of power, their throne room, or something of that ilk. Then you have bodyguards. If an enemy is within 6 inches, they will move and attack them. If they have a ranged weapon, they will prefer to attack from range rather than move forward. They must deploy within 6 inches of the antagonist at the start of the scenario. If the antagonist ever moves out of 6 inches range, they will endeavour to move closer to them rather than attack the enemy to protect their leader. Otherwise, they will remain in place as close to the antagonist as possible. And then minions, very simple. If an enemy within 6 inches, move to engage and attack. If not within 6 inches, shoot if armed with a ranged weapon, or move towards the nearest enemy and use your best judgment on that front. So that is the basics of how to essentially play by my sword. Nice, very simple, quick, easy. Stick some models on the tabletop. Just have some fun. It's been inspired by me playing a lot of, or seeing a lot of, very quick and easy, fun fantasy war games from a variety of different creators like Mammoth Miniatures and stuff. So this was just a nice little bonus thing that I could crack out that I thought would be really fun. I did then expand things out a little bit more, so if you wanted to get a little bit more deep when it comes to how you build up your forces, you've got some options there as well. So there's terrible foes. So if you fancy a challenge, you can always face down a terrible foe. A terrible foe is different from your normal games. You'll still build a band of companions as normal, but the enemy, your terrible foe, is a single miniature. They roll a d12. They have 20 life points, 2 attacks per attack activation, and they also have the aura of fear. So a miniature wanting to engage a terrible foe must roll to see if they can muster the courage to attack. Roll their die, low is a failure, and their movement ends. High means they can move to engage. A hero, your leader, will always pass this test. So if you have 2 heroes, they can always pass their test to charge in if you're building your band of companions as such. And when a terrible foe activates, they will move to engage, or they will just move towards the nearest hero. So this is great if you want to put something like Shog Sagoth or something into your games, a big giant, a dragon, or something like that. Very, very simple. Obviously come up with cool special ideas and mechanics if you wanted to create something a little bit different. I might come back to terrible foes and come up with some bonus special mechanics that would fit them in particular. But it's just something a little bit extra for you to throw into your games. Now, as I said, one of the things about By My Sword is that it is designed to be very, very simple and easy to play. You are meant to come up with the narrative and the background yourself, be inventive, come up with fun things, have an idea of what kind of thing you want to do based on the miniatures in your collection, and then go from there. If you do want to put together a fun scenario, then maybe use this scenario generator. It's simple and easy enough to do. So you roll on this and see what you get. So you might roll a throne room, which is guarded and led by a bandit lord who has maybe taken over an old castle that once belonged to somebody else within the region. And what terrors do they bring forth? So what are they trying to do? They are raiding and pillaging, or they are, summoning something foul, or stealing or they have a treasure that you need to steal. So in this case, maybe the throne room guarded by the bandit lord has a treasure inside that they have stolen from someone, and you need to get it back. I have said that it's recommended that you play on a 2x2 playing space, although play on whatever size boards you see fit. The best thing about By My Sword and in games of this ilk is that they can be as big or as small as you like. I have put an example here of a scenario that I came up with. So we're setting up a scenario based on the tables above. The first roll gave us an ancient ruin, so we have some collapsed ruins and a few trees, perhaps from the middle of a jungle. The next roll gives us a primal savage, so we have to think about that and check our collection, and we have a giant ape, so we use them as our antagonist miniature. From there we can think about our bodyguards and minions and choose a few tribesmen who perhaps worship the ape as a god. Lastly, we roll on the final table and get guard a forgotten relic. Perhaps something the tribesmen have offered the ape is a precious jewel that the band of companions need to retrieve from their treasure trove. We decide, because this is a creative game where you come up with your own rules, that the scenario will end when the relic has been stolen from the horde of the giant ape and we manage to get it off the board. We could equally say that the scenario also ends when the giant ape has been killed, which would then spook the tribesmen off and leave the treasure unguarded. So, as I say, it's very much designed for you to come up with your own ideas, be creative, and just use this set of mechanics essentially to kind of guide the way that you play the game. It's very quick and easy, but of course if you wanted to mod it and take it in different directions, you could do. As I said, there's also this version of the rules that you can download and print off if you like, which I've prettied up a little bit more using my meager Photoshop skills, but it just gives you something fun to play around with on that front. And then I thought I would show you some examples of some of the miniatures that I've picked up to use with this. So Redbox Games did a really great game not too long ago, a great set of miniatures which were for their Barbarian range. So this is my leader character that I would use in my band of companions, backed up by his sorceress friend. And then I have 3 lackeys. So I have this guy with a mace and shield, and then 2 fellows with bows, but also daggers as well, because of course this is WYSIWYG, and they would be my band of companions. And they would be going up against this dangerous fellow here. So this would be your antagonist backed up by a bodyguard, and you can maybe use another figure as a bodyguard there as well. And then you have all of these skeletons that I picked up from the folks at North Star Figures. In fact, all of these are from North Star Miniature Figures. And you would obviously just roll on the table to see how many of these minions you would summon to the tabletop to use in your games. So very nice and quick and easy stuff for you to build up. So that was my little classic collection of stuff that I picked up that I thought would be great for the game. But of course you could use whatever miniatures you have in your collection, and there's no reason that this has to be barbarian themed. You could use it for all sorts of other things as well, but primarily something historical or fantasy would probably be a good way to go. But there we go. So some fun stuff there for you to be playing around with when it comes to putting together a couple of fun, quick sword and sorcery style games. As I said, if you want to come and check it out, I'll have the link down below so you can come and grab all of these files. Just download them, print them off, keep them on your phone or whatever. It's a very quick and simple and easy game for you to play. So the whole idea is that, dive in, play to intent, and have some fun with a set of quick and easy sword and sorcery rules for a variety of different model ranges out there. I also have some options for where you could go to get figures to use in your games from the likes of Lucid Eye, North Star Miniature Figures, which I already mentioned, Bronze Age Miniatures, and obviously Redbox Games there too. So I just wanted to come and sort of talk about a game that I had a hand in making. Obviously, it's all free, so just go and get it, have some fun with it. And it would be really, really fun if you could dive into the comments and tell me what games you've played with this and what you've been diving into. But yeah, something a little bit different from Middle-earth and all that kind of stuff for you to have some fun with there. And yeah, give By My Sword a go and tell me what you think. Like, share, subscribe, do all that good stuff. But more importantly, I enjoy diving into the comments and hearing what you folks have to say. So if you enjoyed By My Sword, or if you think there's some ways that I could build up the likes of Terrible Foes, please dive in and let me know. Remember, the case is that it should always be quick and easy and fun. But yeah, thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll be back with another one very, very soon. But bye for now. I'll be back very, very soon. Bye.